Hello there, right here we got a brand new snapshot for not only the Java edition, but also the Bedrock edition. Java comes out with all the new mangrove blocks, as well as all the new mud blocks, where the Bedrock edition comes out with the new goat horn uses. I'll be covering all of this, plus more. So leave a like on the video and subscribe, and let's get into all of the nitty gritty. They added the new mangrove blocks into the Java edition. You can see they all kind of have a pinkish reddish hue. If we plant down one of the mangrove propagule and we go ahead and bone mill it, you can see it actually turns into an oak tree. But they did come out with the logs in which the trees will look like. It's very kind of smooth. I really like the texture. It looked like our propagule went ahead and naturally grew up as well and actually produced a bee nest, which is really weird. There's also strip types of the log and the wood. Here's the all-sided one, kind of cool. We also got the roots of them. These are the ones that are going to be used to support them. There's also the mud variations of them, probably ones that they'll put inside of the water, and these will be like out of the water. There's also their leaves, which look really green in the inventory, but placed in the swamp biome here, they look a lot more deadish and pick up a similar color to the swamp trees that we have here. Of course, you can make all the different types of blocks out of these. Here's what the door looks like. It is completely solid. And the trap door itself looks like it has a little hole in the center, which does make it unique from all the other types. That's really cool. So the builders can use this as kind of like a circular texture. We got the gate in the side. Notice that the side has the trunk texture on the bottom and the boat. I noticed when you hop in the boat, it kind of makes a thudding noise as you drive it. Now, they did mention the actual trees of these, as well as the new mangrove biomes, are going to be added in later snapshots, so they're currently not out. Now, these propagules will grow in 4 different stages, and they will just naturally go through all of these stages and eventually will grow. These guys can also be waterlogged, and there's also a type of these that can be hanging. Seems like the bees are attracted to these as well. They also came out with all the different types of mud blocks in this new snapshot. You can make mud by using a water bottle and right-clicking on a dirt block. Or you can use a dispenser facing into a dirt block with water bottles inside of it, and if you power that, it will automatically make it into mud and you'll be left with a glass bottle. I've actually already designed a mud farm using these mechanics. You can check it out here, but I will be updating it, so look forward to that video in the future. Now, mud is like soul sand, where the player walks on it, he's going to be slightly lower than a normal block, but it's not slow like soul sand. I love these really unique blocks where they show up as a full block, but they are actually shorter. Lets you do really cool stuff like place rails on them, while still having that unique hitbox. Now you can take your mud and you can actually craft it into packed mud. And this block can then be crafted into mud bricks, as well as stairs, slabs, and walls. You can even combine this with the mangrove roots to produce the muddy mangrove roots. There's more Java changes, but let's first go into the Bedrock edition and take a look at the new goat horn uses. They added in some new features for the goat horn, which has always been an experimental thing that never came out to goats in 1.17. They added additional goat horn sounds, which are random per goat. They also added in a specific sound for the screaming goat. The horn is always dropped when a goat that has at least one of them on rams into a block that's either stone, packed ice, ores of iron, copper, emerald, or any type of wood log that are from the overworld. Goats also now have a small chance of spawning in with only one horn, where baby goats will always have 2. The horn can be put in the crafting grid with 3 copper ingots and produce a copper horn. The copper horn is a new item that can play 3 different sounds. One by looking upwards, one by crouching, and one for everything else that you're doing. But if you get a horn that's from a screaming goat, it even has a special sound when made into a copper horn. Both goat horn as well as copper horns can be found inside of Pillager Outpost loot. You can see that even though these horns appear to be the same, they're actually different. And if we look in the crafting grid, here are the 2 different horns we have. And if we put copper with those, the Ponder one then becomes Great Sky Falling. The Admiral one that we just got then becomes Dry Urge Anger. There's a lot of different noises that the horns can make, depending on what type of goat drops them. Let's go ahead and go through them. Here's Ponder. This one's called Sing. The next one is Seek. Then we have Feel, which is the default raid noise. Next up is Admire. A little bit deeper tone of the raid noise. Then we have Call, which is a really low and slow raid noise. We have Yearn. Oh my goodness, that one sounds so strange. Resist. This one is Fly. Wow, that is really low. And the last one is called Dream. kind of very echoey. Copper horns also have their own unique noises. First one called Great Sky Fall. And if we crouch and play it. And if we look straight up. Next is Old Hymn Resetting. Next up is Pure Water Desire. It's possible that since it's 3 names, each name goes to one of the 3 different ways you can play it. Humble Fire Memory. Seems like all the crouching ones are really low. Now the ones facing upwards are more high pitched. This one's called Dry Urge Anger. Oh, that was actually kind of cool. Then there's a Clean Temper Journey. Crouching. Very low. This one's called Fresh Nest Thought. Wow, that was really crazy. Then we got Secret Lake Tear. That sounds like when you play those pianos that can play different instruments and you play the really low notes. Seems like the higher pitch ones are like more of a cheerful type. Next up is Fearless River Gift. And the last copper gold horn is called Sweet Moon Love. Well, there is a lot of different types of unique horn sounds. I might notice that the normal horns cooldown period is different than the other ones. Not sure if that is a bug or not. It does seem like the leg can't tell the difference between the unique sounds of the horn, but it can tell the difference between the copper and the normal one. Now, since the horns are part of the pillagers, and they do make the raid noises, maybe they will be used in some part of raids, or controlling the illagers during raids. It's also possible, since the warden is in this update, that it will somehow be able to do something with that. What is your guys' ideas for the horn? Currently producing a lot of different noise, it does make sense that it has a cooldown, because that could get pretty annoying if you're in a multiplayer world, like in a spawn area. Now Java also has the same things that Bedrock has for the frogs, meaning the frogs, the tadpoles in buckets, their spawn eggs, their ability to kill slime, and magma cubes, which produce the new frog light blocks. Now, since this is technically the first snapshot for 1.19, that's not an experimental one, in this one we don't have the warden or the ancient cities, but we do have the deep dark biomes with all the different types of skulk blocks. I'm able to have this snapshot testing server, where you guys are able to join me as we play around with the newest things. And this is all thanks to Bisect Hosting, who provide amazing Minecraft servers as well as other servers, so you're able to get together with your friends and family on a single Minecraft server and complete those mega goals you always wanted to do. You can check out the Minecraft servers they offer with a link down below, and using Ray, you can get 25% off your first month. And it also helps support me. Big thanks to Bisect Hosting for making this all possible. This snapshot also has a new option for 3-directional audio, so we can go ahead and turn this on. I did recently get some headphones that can do surround sound. It does sound a bit different. They did some other technical changes, like they updated the data pack, as well as the resource pack. They added in 3D blending, so they'll do a better job at blending underground biomes. They added in new font glyphs provider for spaces. They also added in a GPU utilization percentage for the F3, if available on the device. We also have the ability to hide files that come from data packs or resource packs that are below them. Now you're also able to change the preset, as well as the creating of worlds with data packs. Besides these new features, we also got bug fixes. Let's go over those next. They fixed this long time problem where if you're in crawling mode, breaking 5 blocks away from you was different for your client versus the server. You guys might have already experienced this problem with water desyncing, where sometimes when you try to grab some water, it will appear to have vanished for you, but it actually hasn't vanished for the server. This happens a lot in my tropical fish in the bucket farm. In most cases, this is just a client-side problem. Hopefully this fix also prevents people from picking up water and it looks like there's water inside their bucket, but then it just vanishes. Now most creative only blocks like the barrier block are immune to withers and dragons, but the newer light block didn't have this property, so withers and dragons could accidentally break it, but now it does. They also fixed a problem where Vex were trying to attack mobs in their dying stage. If you guys don't know, once a mob dies, there's like a 1 second time where the death animation is occurring, and Vex are still trying to come in and actually attack that dying stage, which shouldn't happen, so they fixed it. Now these dying mobs still count to the mob cap and have other special properties. The way the game puts in notches in between the boss bar actually changes depending on how many boss bars there is, and that's now been resolved. They also fixed this problem to do with inconsistencies with bamboo versus scaffolding. So if you make a scaffolding, it only takes 6 bamboos and you get 6 scaffolding. But if you go ahead and we put the 6 scaffolding in one furnace as a fuel source, and we're gonna go ahead and also put in 6 scaffolding as a fuel source in this furnace over here, notice that this furnace goes through its bamboo extremely fast. Over here, it's going much slower. Notice over here, we got 1 charcoal, but in this furnace here, we got a total of 12 charcoals just using pretty much the same amount of materials. And this is now fixed. They fixed this funny bug with the textures of doors. You might have noticed this when they are open, they actually have the textures flipped. So this little dark icon here is actually supposed to be the hinge, but you can see the hinge is clearly supposed to be on this side. This next one is another one that you might have noticed. It's the offset of shields. So when you place them inside of item frame, you can see they're clearly off to one side and not sitting in the center of it. You can also see this if you drop this item on the ground where the shadow is compared to where the shield is at, but this has now been resolved. Another texture problem that they fixed was the arms on the brewing stands. Notice how they move in and out depending on bottles are in there or not, and now they'll no longer do that. They fixed a long time issue to do with structure blocks, which is you're not able to make names that are over 64 characters long. Otherwise, they don't actually save, but you're actually able to load in structures that are longer than 64. This is typically done with schematics because schematics you type out on a third-party program and they're really long names typically, but you're able to actually paste them into here and they'll load just fine. So with this fix, we should be able to have more freedom when saving and loading. They've resolved this issue to do with the coca bean and the pixels being stretched on one side compared to the other side. So where they meet on the edge here, you can see that they don't actually line up because this one is 7 on the top and this one is 8 pixels on the bottom, which is now fixed. They also fixed a problem to do with spiders and their leg texture not actually being mirrored, where the tops of one legs end up being the bottoms of the other legs. Now the end rod actually had a pixel on it that wasn't being used, so it's been removed. They also fixed this problem to do with end portal frames texture not matching up with the end stone. You can see right here where my cursor is, there is kind of some weird gibberish and that's where the two don't smoothly mix. Now the end portals will use the same texture as the end stone. They also changed the texture of mycelium, and when you place snow on top of it, the snow comes down low, but it also changes some of the pixels out at the very bottom of it, which shouldn't be the case. So that's what they fixed. On the bottom of the smoker, notice that this corner here is rotated incorrectly compared to the rest of them, which is now resolved. The texture on wolves was actually not mirrored when it came to the ears. You can see what this looks like when somebody retextures the wolf, and both ears are pointing to the right. They also fixed a brewing stand, so the sides of this will actually connect down with the base. When the out of memory message would pop up in Minecraft, it wasn't being translated into other languages, so now it will be. In macOS, the Minecraft icon was actually incorrect. They fixed a misspell in the code where recipe was spelled incorrectly. Now come join my Twitch live streams. These are every Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And where you guys, the viewers, can join my testing server as we mess around with the latest changes. If you missed my stream, you can always go ahead and check out this playlist where we tried out the new Warden, Allay, Frogs, and much more for 1.19. Or this playlist all about useful tricks that I found over the 12 years of playing this game. Thank you guys so much for all the recent support. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye!